Alright, hey, it's me, and I'm coming to you with my 2012 camouflage outfit, and you may be chuckling. I'm serious because so many people had this color on this year that you didn't stand out in the crowd. You actually blended in. Now, here in the remote farmlands of Wisconsin, which you can see behind me, right there, I stand out like a hunter in a tree stand. But it's 3 weeks. It's been 3 weeks today since Miami, and today I felt like for the first time my run was actually good, had actually come back to me. I ran earlier this week in Minnesota, and it felt pretty good, but today I ran and I was able to run comfortably without getting too high of a heart rate, under 8-minute miles for almost 8 miles. So 3 week recovery there. On the run. The bike came back a lot quicker, and the swim was instantaneous. The next swim I felt good. So the winter's continuing on. This week's Thanksgiving. Be sure to give thanks for the things that you have in your life, and I'm thankful for my health and my family, and of course, having a higher purpose and a higher calling that I serve. So being able to follow his direction wherever he leads me, and just wish all of you guys a happy Thanksgiving. Eat too much, it's okay, it's one day. Stay tuned for hydration tips. Hey, it's Adam, and I got a great question from one of the subscribers this week. The question was, how do I know how to hydrate properly, and what should I do, and what type of water bottle should I get? That's a great question. And you can see here from the props I've assembled that it's not a simple answer. Here are some of the things that I use when I hydrate for races and training. I'd like to start off by describing my race strategy. So this fits on my down tube. It's a speed fill by Invista Design. It holds 35 or 40 ounces of fluid. It's aerodynamic. There's a tube coming out of the top. It goes right to my mouth in the aero position. I use this at the Ironman Miami, and this is probably the best racing bottle that I've used. It has a great quick access. You can pour the fluids in very fast. They don't spit back out at you. And there's enough aid stations where even if it's kind of warm, you can go through this between aid stations. Second one I use here for racing is my Aquacell. This is by Profile Design. It has 2 chambers that hold about 45 ounces, or maybe a little bit more than that. One I typically put in a electrolyte mix, and the other one I put in water. Both of them have quick fill designs too, but they have a yellow mesh net in the top. You put this in the top of the bottle to prevent splashing out, and quite frankly, it's pretty difficult to fill while you're going over 20 miles an hour, and you can't get 2 bottles in by the time you go through the aid station. So I try not to have to fill this up on the race. This is backup. I keep water in the 15-ounce container so that I can drink some and spit it onto my hand when I get gel packs or something on my hands, or if I get some of the electrolyte fluid leaking that I don't want sticky on my grips. I'll use this on some of my long rides too for extra fluid when I stop, but I prefer not to use this on my training rides because it's a pain to disassemble. It's a pain to wash and reassemble. And the way it mounts to the handlebars, it has a couple of heavy-duty rubber straps to keep it from rocking. The Velcro attachment is not good. I end up using a bike tube to attach it to my handlebars instead. It's more stable and it's quicker to mount. This one right here is really tough to get in and out. I think it's quicker than Aquacell. It washes faster, but you've got to do this one by hand because of its design. The other one you can put in the dishwasher. So what do I use mostly for training? I use different bottle sizes. So this is one I got from doing a breast cancer awareness ride. It's a 20-ounce bottle. Here's a 22-ounce bottle picked up at Ironman Racine. I use this one a lot. And then this is an insulated 24-ounce bottle. It says insulated. That doesn't last very long. If I do any of my long rides, that insulation, by the time I go to drink it, it's become the temperature of the air that I'm riding in. So if you're going to use something for training, I would use these 22-ounce non-insulated bottles for longer rides. They're super cheap. You can pick these up for $4 or $5. I think the top ones, they may run for $8 or $9 at your local store. These insulated ones, they can be about twice as much. They don't insulate that well unless you're going on a short ride. This bad boy runs $100, as does this one's pretty close to that too. So that's the first recommendation. The second one is the mounting for the water bottles. Even these water bottles, you can put them behind your seat in the two-place holder. You can put them on the down tube on your bike, or you can buy a mount that puts them on your aero bars. I prefer to just put them on the down tube under my seat. I had a behind the seat one. It's a little tough to get to when you're riding. It's better from an aero perspective, but I also had one by Profile Design, and just a real piece of junk. I've had two of them break. I've lost multiple water bottles by it swinging down. They have a really bad design. There's some other ones out there. They're really pricey for those mounts, and the aero bar mounts are a little bit more. But I would just recommend using your down tube for that. And then the next question is, what do you put in it? And as you can see here, I have my main four go-to fluids. I've got powdered Gatorade here. I've got Heed by Hammer. I've got Accelerate, and I've got pre-made Powerade. And you can see here I've got my Walmart drinking water that I use to mix. If you ride a lot like I do, it can get really expensive to use some of these. These Heeds run for about $25 for one of these. It's 32 servings, and 32 servings will, that'll only last about, I don't know, five weeks of training. So this Gatorade right here runs $8. It's enough to make 63 servings, and each serving makes 12 fluid ounces. So this is really cheap if you're buying water, or you can use tap water or filtered water from your house. The good thing about Gatorade too over Powerade is that it doesn't contain high fructose corn syrup. However, during some of my early initial trainings, when I drink Gatorade, the electrolyte onset would be too fast and I'd get instant cramps. So if some of you are dealing with that, I recommend using Powerade. Actually, I probably use this more than anything else. They have pre-made or the powdered versions as well. And then something dorky that I do sometimes is I'll color code what Powerade. Like I have yellow here to match my bike, and I have red for my son's bike. But anyway, get whatever flavor you like. The last one I have here is Accelerate, and I don't use this too often because it tastes kind of gross. And the reason for that, it has proteins in it. So there's some arguments out there that you should have protein in your hydration plan, and quite frankly, I haven't noticed a difference, and I don't like the taste, so I don't use that very often. I've had this. I won this at a race. Yeah, it expires next June, so I think I won that too, or yeah, 2010 I won that. So I don't use that very often, but I hope that helps. And oh yeah, the last thing is how much fluid do you need? And typically what I do is if it's an hour or less, I won't bring any fluid with me. I don't need to get a drink on rides that short. The main thing that hydration impacts is your performance. And typically in higher heart zones or over a long time. So if you're not having water in your body, your heart rate rises, your blood gets thicker, so it has to pump harder. With the electrolyte loss, obviously you lose some of your functions. Your muscles can cramp. That's the main thing that occurs. So from a hydration standpoint, I usually don't cramp up or have a heart rate issue in an hour or less ride. However, if you're going to carry something for an hour, one of these 22-ounce bottles, should work well. For the rides that I have over an hour, so 1 to 2 hours, I'll typically carry 2 of those water bottles, and then I'll start drinking them about 45 minutes in, or maybe half an hour in, so that for the last hour I'm not feeling it. For the 3-hour rides or over 3-hour rides, I'll do one of two things. I'll either use the bigger water bottles, and then I'll also combine that with using one of these bad boys, and or I'll stop at a gas station, and many times I've picked up 2 of these for $2.22. Or you can usually get Gatorades 2 for $2.50 or 2 for $3, whatever one's on sale. I usually just pick those up, or you can get water and carry packets with you. To determine the exact amount that you should be drinking, which is very important in racing, you can calculate what's known as your sweat rate. That's very easy. Weigh yourself before you go out, do your ride, come back, weigh yourself right after, and that's how much you sweat. One of these 24-ounce bottles is 1.5 pounds, so it's 1 pound for every 16 fluid ounces. So if you drink one of these on your ride, let's say I weigh 200, I come back and I weigh 195, and I drank 2 of these, that means I've lost 7 pounds. Typically for me, in an hour, I'll lose about 64 fluid ounces, so that's 4 pounds. And so I know how much I need to do. Now that's in a warmer temperature. When it gets cooler, you don't lose as much fluid. But that's what I would recommend. Weigh yourself before, weigh yourself after, and then subtract anything that you may have drank along the way. And that's a pretty good indication. So you do that at the temperatures you'll be riding in or racing in, and you'll have a good plan. So that's hydration.